In late December of 2025, as most of Germany slowed down for the holidays, something unbelievable was already unfolding beneath the surface of an ordinary city. Streets were quiet. Businesses were closed. Families were focused on Christmas and the coming New Year. And while nearly everyone assumed nothing out of the ordinary was happening, one of the most sophisticated bank heists in modern European history was quietly underway. By the time the public learned about it, the crime was already over. The discovery would shock the country and leave thousands of people devastated. Officials would later compare it to a Hollywood movie, calling it a real-life version of Ocean's 11. But unlike the movies, this story had no glamorous ending and no clear villains caught in the final act. Only loss, unanswered questions, and a mystery that still remains. The crime took place in Gelsenkirchen, a city in western Germany, at a Sparkasse savings bank branch. Sparkasse banks are deeply trusted institutions, used by millions of everyday people to store their money and valuables. Many customers believe their safe deposit boxes were among the safest places possible for their most important possessions. That trust would soon be shattered. The timing of the heist was no accident. The criminals chose the Christmas holiday period for a reason. During this time, banks operate with limited staff. Security checks are less frequent, and entire buildings can remain undisturbed for days. The calm that most people associate with the holidays became the perfect cover for a crime that required patience, silence, and precision. Instead of attempting a risky break-in through the front of the bank, the perpetrators took a much smarter approach. They entered through an adjacent underground parking garage. This location provided privacy, shelter from public view, and access to the building's lower levels without raising suspicion. From there, they breached a secured door and began working their way toward the vault. What followed was not rushed or chaotic. The criminals drilled directly through reinforced concrete, creating a hole large enough to enter the vault area. This was not something amateurs could do. The tools used were industrial grade, and the accuracy of the drilling suggested careful planning and possibly inside knowledge of the building's layout. For an extended period of time, the criminals worked completely undetected. No alarms were triggered. No security teams were alerted. No one noticed anything unusual. Somewhere beneath the city, a vault believed to be secure was being systematically broken into. Inside the vault were thousands of safe deposit boxers. One by one, the boxers were forced open. Cash was taken. Gold disappeared. Jewelry collected over generations vanished. Family heirlooms, documents, and irreplaceable personal items were gone within hours. And still, no one knew. The crime was only discovered in the early hours of December 31st, just as the year was coming to an end. A fire alarm was triggered inside the bank, prompting emergency responders to arrive and investigate. What they found was not a fire, but a scene of devastation. There was a massive hole drilled through the vault wall. Thousands of boxes had been smashed open. The vault, once orderly and secure, looked torn apart. It quickly became clear that this was no ordinary robbery. The criminals were already gone, leaving behind nothing but destruction and confusion. As investigators began assessing the damage, the scale of the heist became apparent. More than 3,000 safe deposit boxers had been broken into. Around 2,700 customers were affected. Each box represented a person, a family, a story. Many had trusted the bank with items that held emotional value far beyond money. Authorities initially estimated the losses at around 30 million euros, based on insurance limits and early assessments. But those numbers told only part of the story. Many customers had stored valuables that exceeded insurance coverage, and some items could never truly be valued at all. Speculation soon grew that the real total loss could be as high as 90 million euros or more. When news of the heist became public, the reaction was immediate and emotional. Hundreds of customers gathered outside the closed bank branch, demanding answers. People were angry, confused, and heartbroken. Some had lost their life savings. Others had lost wedding jewelry, inherited items, or objects tied to family history. Many were shocked to learn that insurance coverage for safe deposit boxers was limited. They had believed their valuables were fully protected simply because they were stored in a bank vault. That assumption turned out to be painfully wrong. The bank responded by setting up hotlines and beginning the claims process. But frustration grew as information came slowly. For many victims, the damage felt irreversible. No amount of compensation could replace what was lost. Meanwhile, police launched a large-scale investigation. Security footage was reviewed. Patrols were increased. Forensic teams examined the scene in detail. Investigators followed multiple leads, searching for any sign of who might be responsible. Yet, despite the scale of the crime, no arrests were announced. No suspects were publicly identified. The criminals seemed to have vanished without a trace. This raised even more troubling questions. How did the perpetrators know exactly where to drill? How did they avoid triggering alarms? How did they manage to work for so long without detection? Some investigators began to consider the possibility of inside knowledge or assistance. Given the precision and efficiency of the operation, the heist exposed serious vulnerabilities in traditional bank security systems. Vaults that had once been considered nearly impenetrable were now shown to be vulnerable to determined and well-equipped criminals. The event sparked national debate in Germany about holiday security, surveillance gaps, and whether banks were doing enough to protect their customers' property. Around the world, the story captured public imagination. Comparisons to famous fictional heists flooded social media. Headlines described the robbery as cinematic, brilliant, and shocking. But for those affected, there was nothing entertaining about it. It was a reminder that real-life crime does not come with dramatic music or happy endings. The 2026 Gelsenkirchen bank heist now stands as one of the most audacious crimes in recent European history. It combined careful planning, technical skill, and perfect timing. It affected thousands of ordinary people and left authorities with more questions than answers. Even in highly regulated societies, crime can still outpace security. Even places we trust the most can be vulnerable. And sometimes, the most shocking events happen quietly, while the world is distracted, as investigations continue and victims wait for closure. This heist remains a powerful reminder of how thin the line can be between security and disaster. If you found this story interesting and want more real-world mysteries, crimes, and unbelievable events like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next.